be presenting production reporting at Newmont Merian, metal accounting upgrade using the PI system. This is co-presented by Mipac and Newmont. Hi, my name is Daniel Qiao from Mipac.
Hello, my name is Yuanbin Qin from Newmont. So just a little bit about the two companies. Newmont is the world's #1 gold producer with 8 million gold equivalent ounces per year through 2030. And Newmont Suriname is the managing partner of the Merian mine, owning 75% of the interest. The Merian site is an open pit mine with 14 years estimated mine life and 448,000 ounces annual production. Newmont Merian closely partnering with the Surinamese government and adjacent community to create value and improve lives through sustainable and responsible mining.
Mipac is an automation contractor with clients and projects across the world with the head office in Brisbane, Australia. Mipac is a digital solutions team, which I'm a part of, which is mainly involved in the implementation of PI systems for purposes such as reporting. So now I'll hand over to Yuanbin to give an overview of what production reporting means at Merian.
Thank you, Daniel. So what's involved in the production reporting? The typical KPIs such as the throughput rate, the availability, the head grade, recovery, and also the gold production need to be reported on the daily basis. And from time to time, we need to benchmark the actual gold production with the budget and the forecast. On a monthly basis, we also need to report the gold inventory for the metal reconciliation purpose, and we have to report the monthly consumption of power and reagent, the shipment of the bullion bars to the finance department as well. Some of the challenges we were facing before the Mipac were there's no real-time production parameter displays for timely and informed decision making. So the stakeholder, other than the control room operator, they have limited access of the operation information. Secondly, there's a large amount of the manual data entry. This causes a large amount of the time sink for the metallurgist. And also the data entry between different systems tend to introduce errors. Lastly, the production reporting using the Excel. Excel has limited security options for the sensitive data. And also the data manipulation in Excel is a non-conformance to Newmont's metal accounting standard. Sometimes high level of Excel literacy is required to troubleshoot the problems in the Excel. With Mipac solution, we migrate from the Excel reporting to a modern web-based platform leveraging the PIF. The Mipac supports the calculation and visualization of the data over a user time selectable time period. We automate the daily, monthly reporting and also the meta accounting. The operator log sheet has been digitalized with the iPad and a Mipac platform. The different data sources, such as the LIMS, the MineStar, MineMan, are integrated together into one single repository, which will remove the needs of manual data entry between the systems. So the benefits are obvious. We have better data visualization. The user can select a specific time period. The data is displayed just a click away. The users have a single source of truth. The user can also download the data as a CSV file, which is easy for viewing and sharing and analyzing. Secondly, our reporting is automated. The daily, weekly, monthly reports are streamlined, and there's no manual data entry required between different systems, which freed the metallurgist on other job tasks such as data analysis, as opposed to data entry. Lastly, the data security is also improved by Active Directory user group. So now I will hand over to my co-presenter, Daniel, on the detailed architecture, solution, and implementation.
Thanks, Yuanbin. So now on the next couple of slides, we'll have a look at the system architecture at Newmont Merian before and after implementing the PI system to assist with production reporting. So here we can see the architecture using Excel for production reporting. So on the left here, we can see the data sources that come into production reporting, some of which is lab assays from results of lab analysis, plant feed, which is what's on the trucks that's coming in, gold bars, environmental data, such as rainfall and other water-related data, and also there's manual log sheets. And other things are like stuff from the plant control system, so your pumps, your valves, your instruments. So all of that requires manual intervention for metallurgists to manually transfer the data, even though the source of the data is SQL, a SQL database. Once they're in the Excel spreadsheet, they still need metallurgists to massage the time series data in Excel to produce production reports. The PI system was implemented in stages, where the PI data archive was implemented first, and then AF and the analysis. So on this slide, we can see the architecture after we've implemented production reporting using the PI system. From this, you can see the various external data now comes into the PI system via PI interfaces, the RDBMS interface and AF link tables. The control system comes in via OPC, and any other manual data entry where there's no instruments available can be entered using an iPad on a log sheet, which uses MPA, which is a product developed by Mipac for visualizing data in the PI system. And more reports are also produced than previously for more stakeholders. So in the next slides, I'm going to describe the Mipac Process Vantage, or MPA. So it's a component used at Newmont Merian for visualization, and it's developed by Mipac using the PIF SDK. So here we can see some screens from MPA, which visualizes data. So basically, it can show data from attributes, link tables, and event frames. It uses pie charts. So basically, it produces a variety of charts, as in pie charts, bar charts, and mixed. The other thing it allows you to do is it provides data entry to attributes in AF elements and also attributes to event frames. You can also manually create event frames from the MPA platform. Some use cases for this is such as budget and forecast values that need to be manually entered into here, which writes to PI tags, and then manual sampling that's required on site. So in the next couple of slides, we'll have a look at some specific implementations of calculations and visualizations for the production reports. The first one of which is the daily production report. So this on the right is roughly what the daily production report looks like. You also have a time selector as part of MPA where you can select a time period, either a day, week, or month, and that adjusts the start and end time accordingly. And with the forward and back arrows, you can move through periods, which allows you to easily compare different periods or different days in this case. And a periodic analysis is used to calculate values over a 12-hour shift and write values back to the start of the shift. And automatic recalculation is used for late arriving data such as assay values. So here we can see basically the implementation of that report. So to visualize that, we have elements based off an element template, which form the rows of the report. And each of the element templates have a set of templated attributes which form the columns, and the attribute values form the cells. So depending on the element template and the row, the calculations can be different, but most of the data is calculated as a total or an average of a 12-hour shift. And value retrieval methods is used on those values. So we can calculate, using the same values, we can calculate a week to date, a month to date, a year to date, which basically aggregates or does the event weighted total over that time period. So next we'll have a look at some uses, another use case, which is batch processing. So one of the processes in Newmont Merian is the elution batches. So as a part of this process, you can see the PFD at the bottom. Basically, gold is stripped from loaded carbon and poured into gold bars. And this is a batch process. And gold in each batch is calculated by multiplying the volume with the differences between the assays taken at the start and the end. They're linked together with a batch ID because the volume comes from the control system and the assay comes from the external lab system, which has a SQL backend. So this is modeled using a PI analysis and PI event frames. There are concurrent batches, which means there could be more than one batch in the system at any one time. There's 4 main steps to the batch process: acid wash, elution, electrowinning, and regeneration. So when batch 1 moves from acid wash to elution, a new batch 2 could go into acid wash. So there'll be 2 batches into the system. And once it moves the next steps, batch 1 gets split, where the carbon goes into regeneration, and then the gold goes into electrowinning. So that is done simulated by an event frame as well. So basically, using event frame generation and the batch number, we can use whether the batch ID is odd or even to create concurrent event frames as they go through. Another important thing is, as the batches move into electrowinning, they're in electrowinning cells. And after a set amount of time, once that electrowinning cell is full, it gets cleaned, and several batches gets turned into 1 or more gold bars. So basically, this is the implementation in PIF. So we have the external SQL database, which holds the assay values. And using an AF link table, this allows us to do table lookups to match the volume against the assay value based off that batch ID. And we calculate a gold per batch. And using the cell voltage and apply analytics, we can figure out when the last time the cell was harvested. So using that time and also value retrieval method, we're able to totalize, do an event-weighted total of whatever gold batches are between the last harvest and the current time to figure out what's in the electrowinning cell. So the last use case I'm going to talk about is calculating inventory. So basically, previously inventory level calculations were not very consistent and quite manual. Basically, what inventory calculation involves is basically the amount of gold that's on site. So things like gold in tanks and vessels, gold in the electrowinning cells, which we saw previously, and there's also gold bars in safe before they're shipped. And this data is used for a variety of things, but mainly to produce the monthly report, the production in monthly reports. So basically, once the report's produced, metallurgists also have to lock and validate the data. So they check the results to see if they're happy with it, and then validate or lock the data so it doesn't change, even if future inputs change. So this is to conform with the SOX, and basically that's just a part of US law meant to protect investors from fraudulent accounting practices by corporations. So here's basically a rough look at the inventory calculations using PI analytics. So we have lab assay values, which comes through the SQL database through an RDBMS interface. And for the gold in tanks, that assay value gets combined with the volume to figure out how much gold is in each of the tanks. And that same assay value is used, as we saw previously, to calculate the gold in the electrowinning cell. And also we have a separate database called MineMan, which produces the data for the gold bars, which also come through via an RDBMS interface. And there's also manual entry as well for areas of the plants where there's no instrumentation to get the data automatically. Stuff like gold in retort and gold adjustment. All of that is combined to calculate an inventory at the start of every shift. And that is shown basically in the visualization platform MPA. So now we reach our conclusions. So some of the challenges we faced, as Yuanbin described previously, was access to real-time process data and trends, which was previously limited to control room operators because they only existed on the process control system HMIs. And allowing the PI data to be visualized, we're allowing more people access to the data and to see the single source of truth. It used to be very resource intensive and a lot of manual entry, which was created great burden on the metallurgists, especially things like when you have the source being a SQL database, you can get that data automatically rather than having someone go in, look at the values, and then manually data enter the same values into another system. And there was also non-conformance basically to aspects of the Newmont's metal counting system. So with the solution, as described previously, we deployed the latest PI system and as a foundation and used advanced analytics, basically the PI analysis, to do a variety of calculation, also event frames, to calculate a bunch of values and also visualize them in Mipac's MPA software for production reporting, which is distributed to a variety of stakeholders. And now Yuanbin will give an overview of the benefits.
Yeah, thank you, Daniel. So as a result, we have better data accessibilities. There's only one source of truth. So the data are reliable and transparent between all the stakeholders. And we have less errors and there's less time spent in the monthly report. The reports and the metal accounting system are improved with the system integration. And lastly, the data security is also improved through the Active Directory user group.
So my name is Daniel Qiao. I'm a senior systems specialist with the OSI Soft Infrastructure Accreditation. And I work at Mipac, which is a OSI Soft partner. For any questions, please contact me or the Mipac email and the phone number listed.
Yes, my name is Yuanbin Qin. I'm the senior metallurgist with Newmont, and below is my contact information. If you are interested in our presentation or have any questions, please feel free to contact us. And that concludes our presentation.